Boogity, 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 boys. Let's have a day. Army Sniper, Wally Gator, Billy B, 12 months. I'm a year old now. Celebrate 12 months being a member. Let's go, baby. Scott O2O, Yale Beast, Terry Johnson, Who Durant. Scars, hit the like button. Absolutely, boys and girls. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. It is, in fact, the best day of the week. Happy to have all of you here. We've got a jam-packed show for you guys, as we always do, suited up in the red, white, and blue, because, of course, tomorrow is the best day of the year, being 4th of July, my favorite holiday. Can't wait to light the sky up with some fireworks, so we're already suited up, ready to go. Got the Olympics hat on. That's coming in less than a month's time. Great stuff there. We've got Mr. Bud Davis joining the show. We used his graphic on Monday. It was a very awesome graphic that we were to kind of decipher through a few things. He broke down even more data about the play calling versus the offensive play calling of Billy Napier, which I know all of us love to chirp at. We're going to talk about that. Some Tim Brando comments, some Cole Kublik comments. Then a little special announcement at the end. So you don't want to go anywhere. Something huge coming up at the end of the show. Before we do any of that, I'm going to go introduce the co-host for the evening, Mr. David Swolderquist. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, big dog? How are you?
Yeah, man, I had a good weekend. I got to check out that Twin Pea whiskey over there from the Pouncey Brothers. If you guys have not checked out Twin Pea whiskey, it is on the internet there for about $45. Also found out I was with an uncle for the third time as well. Congratulations to my brother-in-law, Christian. I'm going to go ahead and give him a special shout-out on this show. And hey, man, it's the best day of the week. I got a little bit of an injury. I was trying to take down a branch, got electrical tape on it. You know how we do it down here in the South. You go put some duct tape on it, it'll be fine. So, baby, let's get it. Let's go.
Let's get it. Let's go. Like I said, we got Mr. Bud Davis joining the show here. We're going to go ahead and hop over to that now. Bud, how we doing, man?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to the holiday tomorrow, and thanks for having me on.
No, man, thank you. Last minute, we talked about one of your graphics on Monday. Then you dropped these graphics, and I'm talking to Dave, and I'm like, Dave, what are we looking at here, man? we got to bring out all the stops to break this thing down. I know there's a lot of good information here, but this little pea brain of mine, I need some help. What was interesting beforehand, I asked you about the colors. Right, like, hey, tell me what's going on here. Obviously, green means good, but like, what's purple? Purple means bad, and a lot of people who are colorblind have a hard time seeing red. So we're off to a good start.
Yeah. It's funny. You post something that's red, green. People are going to tell you, hey, somebody's going to message you and tell you that they can't see it. So I like to use purple instead. Generally, purple means low. Purple means bad. So you want to see green on these graphics for Florida.
Okay, look, great start off then. So look, guys, we're gonna look at kind of the pistol offense, the predictability of it. He breaks it all down based on personnel, et cetera. And look, I think it's just fun for us to look into this while we're heading into it. And again, a lot of people take data as they will. Some people looked at it as, I knew Billy sucked. I knew the play calling was trash. And you even kind of commented, subtext it, and said, look, I'm not saying that predictability is bad. It's just you can't have this and that and it all be successful. So let's talk about the pistol really quick, that offense, what it entailed. And for those of you, what is the pistol? It's when the quarterback's a few yards back from the center, and then Montrell is right behind him about 2 yards. So you know what it is. You've seen it. It gets a little exhausting. A lot of movement usually happening during these plays, and you kind of break that down. And in a weird way, although it is predictable, and I think that's always the thing that we're as fans of, like, we know what's coming. If we know what's coming, the other team knows what's coming. But the success rate, pretty good.
Yeah, and so I think you nailed it. So I put this graphic out, and we talked about, there's kind of two Billy Napier's offense when we watch it, and we see this kind of pistol team that runs a lot of wide zone, and then you get that boot action with Mertz, where we run a play action, he rolls out to the right, and he throws it to the right, and there's usually maybe a flood concept, a lot of horizontal routes flowing to his right, and we crush at that. And we do have a lot of predictability out of it. We love to run out of it. We're running at, pretty much a 70% clip. And teams know this. So this is on firm, which I think this is good. It's good to isolate first down. It's a neutral situation. You can look at our pistol short yardage numbers, and we crush on that too. We can run the ball in short yardage out of the pistol. It's what we execute really well. And then, so we have this pistol half of the offense, and the other half of the offense, I'll call it the spread half of Billy's playbook, but it's almost a completely different style of offense where the running back will line up usually offset, so to Mertz's right or left. We'll run zone, what looks like zone read, but Mertz isn't actually running zone read. He's not a mobile QB. And we'll run some spread style passing concepts off that, and we usually pass at like a 70% clip out of an offset formation. So if you're just looking at where the running back is, you can kind of tell if it's run or pass 70% of the time, even, but it can be more of a feature than a huge problem as well.
Now, I
So,
think where people are going to kind of run with this.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. Oh, you're good. Where
No,
people
go
are
ahead.
going to run with this too. And look, my brain goes this way, right? Is 70% of the time when we line up like X, we're going to throw the ball. And look, this isn't what I'm going to say doesn't support Billy, although I have been a supporter of him calling the offense. But when you put your quarterback into that position who doesn't have the mobility like Anthony Richardson, which you mentioned at the top of the show, that this playbook was built for somebody like that, which is why we're all excited for DJ Lagway, because when you have that extra versatility, it does open up that playbook a little bit more, right? Or just it allows for that playbook to grow into what it was supposed to be. Think about that. 70% of the time they're in this position, they're throwing, meaning teams know what's coming. And Graham still had a very successful year in completion rate and passing yards with essentially, you got to think, with his back against the wall before the play even starts. And so that excites me, but also it's like, well, how do you fix that? How do you overcome that? Because Graham's not going to just figure out how to run in 6 months and be as mobile as the other guy. That's not his thing.
Yeah, and so I think you touched on a couple things. So one is, Napier's been calling plays. His playbook is built Levi Lewis, Anthony Richardson. That spread style half of the playbook, really leans into what those guys do well, which is they can be a threat.
We lost him.
He mentioned some Wi-Fi troubles at the beginning of the show. Just give a minute here. While we wait for him to click back in, be sure to smash the like button, boys and girls, and subscribe. Look, kind of what we're getting. If you're just joining us, going over this graph, this is Bud Davis' graph. Oop. Think
There
we're
we
back.
go. We get him back?
I see his eyeballs moving.
Yeah, but
they're frozen again.
I think he froze again. But I'll add a little bit to that because like you look at this, obviously you look at the graph, he talks about like running the offense, being 70% successful at certain things of the offense. It can be predictable, yes, and teams may know where you're going, but Dan Mullen was really, really good at that, at exploiting defenses like the wheel route against Georgia. Like Georgia knew it was coming, they couldn't stop it. If you keep doing that, obviously that is a weakness on that side until they can defensively defend against it. So there sometimes is an excuse why you keep doing that and keep running the same plays because the other team, it's their weakness. They can't do that. There's mismatches, all that other kind of stuff. So a lot of people will be like, oh, why are we running the same play? Well, if it's successful, yes. And this kind of graph just kind of explains like how much success that you had at running each play. Even though it could have been predictable, it still is successful. And that's why they run these type of plays.
And so I was kind of, again, my head starts kind of connecting dots. When we had Will Miles on the show, he spoke about the defense. He spoke about what Armstrong was calling, and that the calls weren't there. It was just almost that the personnel wasn't good enough to make it happen. And so I wanted Bud to hear this. There we go.
Can I move in?
We got mobile Bud. We got mobile Bud. I love it. So what I would say about is like we've had Will Miles on the show, and we spoke to him about again Armstrong, and the play calling wasn't horrible. It just felt like the personnel wasn't good enough to make it happen. And for me, and again, I'm thinking about, okay, where did Armstrong come from? Where did Billy come from? They come from that Bama offense. The Bama offense isn't really anything that's flashy either. It's somewhat predictable. They're just better at it than you, and they don't care that you know what's coming. They're going to execute it every single time. And we hear Billy talk about we've got to execute because he knows these plays will work. So it's almost as if like, look, the process is there, and this is what the part that we as fans get frustrated with. That's taking time is he's got to build up the other half of it. And look, the play calling maybe isn't exciting, And that's why I think maybe again, I'm on a little rant here, but this is where my head goes when I start thinking about these things of like Mullen was able to come in, throw a flash, can make playmakers happen. It was exciting to watch, but now we see it. Maybe it wasn't as sustainable where what Billy is trying to build. And again, this is me being pro Billy. This style does seem sustainable, but things have to start clicking for it to work. Is that a fair assessment kind of looking into this, or is that a little bit aggressive?
Sorry, guys, I was cutting out there. I was hiding in the back of the house. I got a
All
two and a
good.
half year old who's sleeping, so I moved a little bit. We'll see if that helps my Wi-Fi signal. Um, I think generally, I like Billy's offense. I think we see it have a lot of success across football, at multiple levels. I think we need to figure out a passing game that we can rely on when we're in third and long,
Mm,
first and 10. And, the passing game that we run out of the pistol is really a counterpunch, and you can't base it only out of that. You've got to have a passing game that can be efficient. And I think what I'd like to see a little bit more of this year is for our spread stuff to take advantage of RPOs, be a little bit more like Texas's, like Sarkeesian's, like similar treated Billy. Will coming from that Bama background, slight differences, but lean into some of the air raid stuff, get some RPOs going, find some efficiency in our passing. And I think for the first time, we got 3 true wide receivers that we can put out there that can do that for us. With DK, Badger, and Wilson. I really like our O line. I think we're going to be much better on the O line. And I think a lot of it is just Mertz in year 2. We see a huge improvement in transfer QBs in their second year. We see that at, Joe Burrow, just these massive steps when guys get comfortable in the system. So, yeah, here's the offset numbers. And so if you look first, there's going to be in the overview. So this is first down, running backs offset, and we're going to have pass attempts, designed runs, sacks, and scrambles. Those are the first 3 up at the top. And then that's the usage in green. The relative usage is the next column, and that's how we compare to everybody else. And then the next 2 columns are how it actually performs. So you got success rate, which goes from 0 to 1. So was it a successful? And then you got its EPA per play, so how many expected points. And when we were in the offset, we passed at a 70% clip when you include sacks and scrambles. That's really high. Even if it's predictable, you kind of want that to be under 60%. We need our run game to be a little bit better out of there, or at least call it a little bit more, make it more of a true threat. And then the pass attempts themselves, 44% success rate, basically 0 EPA, and that's on successful passes. That's terrible. That's not a true passing offense. That's not sustainable. And then you throw in sacks and scrambles, and you can see, overall your success rate and EPA are really pretty bad. 44% success rate, that's, most plays are a failure. And EPA in the negative, you're losing points every time you go to this formation and run a play on first down. That's terrible. And so they got to figure out this half of the playbook. And I think RPOs are one answer. I think, bringing in some fresh blood, guys like Russ Callaway, kind of revamping this style of the playbook to fit Mertz a little bit better, that can go a long way.
So the motion, people complain about all year. Muddy in the comments is saying he wasn't a fan of the motion. Again, the motion I think can have success. A team that I think of when I think of motion is the Miami Dolphins. They do it very well. The McDaniels offense, it allows for the wide receivers, the Tyreek Hills and the Waddle. It really amplifies their abilities. We didn't utilize it like we probably should have. It just felt like it just was useless. And even this is saying motion 52% of the time. Now, relative usage, what is that? That's comparing to the rest of everyone else?
Yeah, so most folks probably around 30%.
And so we were much more successful, although we weren't about 50%. So what does that tell you? That this style of play is just maybe not successful in college football, right? I don't know, because it's saying it's successful, but again, 44% clip, I would assume that isn't successful, right? Like it's pulling against each other a little bit.
Yeah, and I think some of this is motion does things, it doesn't solve everything. We see a lot of successful NFL offenses use motion.
Sure.
49ers, we use it pretty similar to them. But if you don't have the right guys, if you don't have the right offense, you can only use so much motion and play action and get great results. You can look at our play action numbers here. Our EPA is in the negative there. Play action, should be a huge asset. But I think this is a little bit where when we were in this offset gun, our play action was kind of a fake zone read, and nobody's buying Mertz running the ball.
Yeah.
They know we're probably going to pass out of this. You can look at if you look at the heavy and 6-man box numbers on first down. So if you look at the pistol versus offset, you can see defenses were cluing in on this. And some of that's, the 11 personnel versus the 12 personnel. You're going to get heavier folks. But yeah, look at that 63% heavy box numbers on first down when we were in the pistol. 7 guys in the box is a lot in college football. And, we saw that at 26% higher than FBS average. Teams were loading the box when we went to the pistol because they knew they could expect a run. So then you see things like on pass attempts, we're running at 30% of the time. But if you look at the success rate in the EPA, those numbers are very green. We had a great counterpunching passing game out of the pistol on first down. Everybody thought we were running it, and we were just crushing them with these deep bombs. But
this is
you
where
can't have that beat your whole passing offense. It's probably my main point.
This is, I complained about it a lot last year too, and this supports that, where it's like Billy has a game plan and just sticks to it. He doesn't adjust to the in-game movement, all right? Like you go out there first down, there's 14 people in the box, and Billy's like, look, this is what's on the play chart. What do you want me to do? We're running it. Versus going, hey, let's try something different. There's 14 guys waiting for Montrell to get the football. let's call an RPO real quick or an audible. That didn't seem to be in the playbook for some reason.
Yeah, and the pistol numbers overall are really good. Teams knew we were going to run it, and we
crazy to think with everyone know it's coming, it was still pretty successful.
Yeah, it really was. And so that half the offense works, even if it's predictable, and that's fine. You kind of want it to be a little bit predictable, and you want to be able to make teams, respect something that you do well.
Sure.
Yeah. Or else, really, I was going to say, or else you just become one dimensional.
Yeah. And I think that's the problem is we don't have a passing game that in and of itself is a threat. I think that's somewhere we could see a huge step forward this year. This is by far the best wide receiver core we've had at Florida in a few years.
Yeah, and I'll add something else to that too. It's like this year too, the improved offensive line, these could add improvement to the numbers. Also, having DJ Lagway, a quarterback that is a mobile quarterback that can run a ball. Now, I've even said this. I do expect DJ Lagway to come in on certain plays, certain designed run plays. And I think this is a testament, just looking at this, knowing that they're going to have to use DJ Lagway in some sort of scenarios just to get some success rates or success percentages or numbers out of what they see what's weak. And this kind of stuff can help out a football team. Like looking at this, what you were successful at, what you weren't successful at last year, adding that to this year, obviously with the improvements and all that. And I said, Lagway, you can really, you have a lot more toys in the box now that you can play with.
Yeah, I think Florida's got a great playbook for Lagway. I think he's going to do fine. I think Billy's going to use him really well. Florida self-scouts like this. They have these numbers. They have it. This is first down. They've got these across all the situations. This isn't a new idea. The pistol as a run-tell tendency, you can find that in, opponent scouting reports going back to when he was at ULL, and then kind of this, pistol versus spread offense stuff. That's an idea that, most folks, you start charting a couple games like JP Gator did, who's in Gator Dave's Discord. You chart a few games and this stuff starts popping out pretty quick. Seth Varnador, this stuff pops out pretty quick. So this pistol versus spread, these tendencies, UF knows it. The opponents know it. And it's really probably more of a internal decision. It's what these guys are comfortable with. It's small things like, Mertz knows he's going to pass. He's going to move his running back down to have a better angle to block for him and pick up a blitzer, things like that. And this isn't me coming out of left field with this on my own, saying we got to fix this, which I think some people took it like that on Twitter, but that's not my view.
That's how it works. Again, when you posted it, I appreciate data. Again, data doesn't have emotions. It's just simply just you can
Yeah.
you can literally take this and use it to whatever argument that you want. There really is, like, honestly. I just wanted to understand the graphics a little bit more and kind of pick your brain on it. And I enjoyed it. Again, always just learning more and more about it. And I think what's sometimes frustrating too is that we always want to have a side when it comes to these things. Like, I told you Billy wasn't going to be it based on these. Like, no, sometimes I just like to know more what's going on. And sometimes fans just want to hear it and be like, okay, well, when they're watching the game, they can maybe feel more like, hey, that's what they're talking about on the show. That makes sense. And we may know what's coming, but then you could also kind of tally in your head, like, hey, we knew it was coming, but it's successful. It's just little things that we can look for in the season to come. And when we hear Billy talk about certain things, like I said, execute. We hear the word all the time, execute. No, Billy, what do you mean? Duh, execute. But I think it goes to this, right? Because their plays are there's not much, they're not going to audible out of things. But if he knows, hey, if we execute what we're supposed to do, we will be successful. And I think that's been the basis to what he's been preaching all the last couple of years. And you better execute coming up next season. He's not going to have to worry about any of those things.
Hey,
So
yeah. What's the success rate on triple reverses?
Man, there's so many just small things last year, and that's just college football. That's why we watch it. Is the small stuff adds up, and I got into the data because people make narratives, and I wanted to try and figure out what do the numbers actually say, so I could understand it better. So that's why I got into the data stuff, is because nobody was actually posting the numbers, and I wanted to know. So.
Spot on. We have a feeling. We think we know what's going on, and I think sometimes our guts are in the right direction. But it settles the bubble guts when you can put some data behind it. So look, I really appreciate you hopping on here. Again, I saw your stuff on Monday. I was like, wow, this was fun. Would love to have you back on, obviously, to talk more. You got a compliment on your mustache earlier in the comments. I was going to mention it as well. It's absolutely phenomenal. So keep it up. Keep up the good work. But tell them where they can find you, bud, and then also you have a show that you want to mention as well.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at JBudDavis, and then Seth Varnador and I are going to be doing some live game day potting on game days this season, where we'll be looking at the data during the games, pregame, halftime, postgame, breaking down the plays. Seth's a great film guy, so we'll be doing those in conjunction. So yeah, keep an eye out. That's going to be at Gators Game Day. So keep an eye out, Twitter, YouTube for Gators Game Day. Give us a follow.
Love it.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. It was
Thanks
an
a lot,
absolute blast.
man. I was going to say, I always enjoy your work, obviously, on Twitter. I always talk to you off and on in the Gators Breakdown Discord as well. So if you guys want to follow Bud Davis, too, you can always join Gators Breakdown Discord as well. He's in there.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
You too, man. Thank you.
All right. Next time.
Bud Davis, everybody. Fantastic information there. Again, it's July. We like to kind of get some more information, figure out what's going on, talk about it. It is a blast to go over those things. I always enjoy doing that. In a world where there's a lot of drama and a lot of negativity, sometimes it's good to take a step back and just talk some ball, right? So, real quick, couple super chats that I missed while we were rocking and rolling. Chi Town says $2, says going to be a beautiful 4th of July. Go Gators is what he said. Absolutely, Chi Town. I couldn't agree more with you, big man. It's gonna be beautiful. And then Terry Johnson, $5, says nothing greater than a Gator. I love it, Terry. Appreciate you guys' support as always. 200 strong here, boys and girls. Be sure to smash the like button and show some more love. So David Wilson says a happy Independence Day. Muddy's in there getting all rowdy. Armory Sniper and Q Lee firing up the chat per usual. I love it. Let's talk about recruiting a little bit. Old Davey Swolder.
Oh,
Look,
that comment was from a Hurricane fan because they paid like almost $2 million for subs. Idiots.
Oh,
go ahead.
Subs is set to announce tomorrow, and it feels that it's going to be a hurricane lean. We've got Miles Johnson, that decommitted from Alabama. Florida feels like they're in a great position for that linebacker. Ty Hawkins, the reason I have his graphic up there, because that was a quarterback that Keith mentioned, and it was basically Ty Hawkins and Tramel Jones. Well, he's now flipped his commitment to SMU from TCU because SMU lost on Keon Russell, excuse me. And Tramel has essentially shut down his recruiting as of now. So Florida currently is without a QB in 2025.
Well, that goes to show you too how recruiting, like how it works and how crazy it is, especially in the NIL era. It's like right now, of course, nobody is looking at a recruiting class and saying, "Oh my God, we're ecstatic right now because we're 15th in the SEC right now." But everything changes. Like everything changes day by day, second by second. Like I got some more news today that I can't share. I want to make sure it's like direct and I know that it's 100% sure. But it was a little bit of good news. I can't say it was bad, but like right now, of course, like a lot of Florida Gator fans, I'm getting DMs saying, "Hey man, like class sucks." It's like, yeah, right now I can agree with you. It does suck, but let's wait till the end of July before we make a final assessment of that. Or you can even wait till during the season or after the season as well.
A lot of time left to go, but look, I think people's feelings are valid. I mentioned it on Monday. It's you get that FOMO. You see everybody around you doing well. You see guys that you were interested in. That was the chart that he pulled up. He showed what had been what's visited to Florida and where they've gone thus far. And we had like a success rate, I think, of like 18%. So out of the 40 official visits that we had thus far, 17% of those players have committed. And I want to say like 40% have committed elsewhere. So there's not much left on the table. And so then I took the numbers, and if I go, okay, we've got 30 official visits left. If we get a commitment rate of 17%, with all those numbers combined, we're going to be looking at like 15 total commits if we land the percentage of what's left of our official visits, showing that, look, we're not having much success out of the visits that we had yet. So with that data, with the teams around us, the teams that we're playing against year in and year out, like Texas, Alabama, Georgia, those guys just crushing it at per usual in recruiting, it's very frustrating. And look, I was talking to a buddy today, he's a Gator fan. You know, I was thinking, like, I was getting his, his feeling. We talk about it. What's the number for Billy to keep his job? That's going to be the conversation throughout the year. Is it 8? Is it 7? Everyone has an opinion. I think you could. I think 7's the magic number. I think 7 is where there really isn't a conversation. But he was arguing that 5, because of how the losses could go, that 5 he thinks he still would keep his job. But I kind of remind him. I go, I don't look. If he recruited like he had been, and if he could finish a top class, but unfortunately the recruits have kind of caught on, and they don't seem to be in that boat. So 5 is definitely not the number where he keeps it. Go ahead.
Well, here's my argument to that. First of all, if he wins 5 games, I think he's gone. Second of all, okay, you talk about okay, well, we need to win games so recruits come to the University of Florida. Well, did Mario Cristobal say that? Because he's got one more win than Billy Napier. He's still landing guys.
Right?
Did Sam Pittman say that? Who's got a hotter seat than Billy Napier, and he landed a top 50 recruit who is ranked higher than all of our recruits, and our highest recruit in their class. He flipped, or actually he got it from Florida State. So I don't like to hear those excuses. Recruiters recruit regardless of their record.
No, look, and that's Billy's run out of string, and I can't. I mean, I support him. You guys know this, but right now at where it is doesn't feel good. But it's like a stock. It's not. You don't lose until you sell it. And right now we're in the hold period. That's all. That's it. It's a bear market, right? We're in the red, boys.
Like I'm still being patient with it, but that thought still remains in my head. Recruiters recruit.
I agree. And look, I try to. I love Dave because Dave always kind of keeps it a buck. He likes to tell you how he feels, and I try to always be optimistic. And again, we try to keep our even keel, but. Look, at the day, we're all fans. We get frustrated, we get mad, and we expect certain things. And I think we've had a couple of good summers the last couple of years with Billy, and there's an expectation that summers are usually good with recruiting, and we're not following that trend. Now, to be fair, when we had good recruiting in the summer, we didn't have great seasons. So if you tell me, we're going to have a horrible recruiting during the summer, but we won't kick ass and take names during the season, I'll go to bed for 3 months. You know what I'm saying? I will shut the shit down. Like you don't have to hear from me from May, June, July. If I know come August, the balls are rolling and we're out there kicking ass, taking names, I'm here for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I said. Like I'll make the statement, but it's not like I don't have my head up about the class or anything like that because it's only July. It's like you still got a season to play and for kids to visit during the season.
Game times and stuff, plenty of times, and a big season to do this. Real quick, I do want to give a quick shout out. Andrew says, love y'all. Thanks for the prayers. Lincoln's doing great, and we're moving into our family house on the 9th. Happy 4th, fam. I love this, man. I was actually thinking about this the other day on my run, just about, one, how blessed I am, how blessed we are, how blessed I am to be able to do this and talk to you guys. Look, I don't mean about emotional, but I know that we just surpassed Lincoln's 2nd birthday. We met Lincoln on this show. He had his son right before we had Beckett. So Lincoln's always going to have a special place in my heart. He's got a Gator jersey that the boys got together and sent him. So just love seeing this, man. I'm friends with him on Facebook. Seeing the progress of Lincoln, man, fires me up, dude. Ain't nothing worse than kid pain, man. And Lincoln's had one hell of a battle his first 2 years, and the kid's an absolute stud. And I love it. I love them. And I love what Lincoln's doing.
He'll always be a honorary high top member.
Oh, he's the high top mascot. He's the Hall of Famer GOAT without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. We got another super chat here from old Sniper. Says $5. Says I can't hear the tone towards Napier, Sheldon. I can hear the tone. Oh yeah, he's look. I'm losing. I'm frustrated. I'm not gonna be shy about it. I'm frustrated, like we all are. But I also understand, like, give it where things are at. So we got two things. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Sheldon's got that video loaded up on his phone that says, "Are you not entertained?" And then he looks up at it every morning, and he's just like, "I don't know if I'm entertained right now, Billy Napier."
Well, look, I think I've organically have placed myself into the corner of defending Billy all the time, and so when it's not going well, people come to me as if like it's my fault, and I get it because I've supported him. So there's like, I told you, like, you know what I mean? I made these decisions. It is what it is, but it's just I get it.
Hey, well, welcome to covering the Gators, buddy.
Yeah. No, look, it comes with the territory. So we got a couple things. We got Brando, right? Tim Brando. He had his comments on the Jake Crane show. Gator fans tagging us, going nuts, very upset with with his comments. And look, I
laughed. I thought it was funny.
You may not like
it made no fucking sense whatsoever.
Look, his take was aggressive. It was a shot, and I think it was how it was said versus what was. We'll listen to it, and then we'll give our thoughts. And then we got Cole Kublik that comes in and just says what I've been saying this entire time. But it's because I sit in a certain type of position, so I can say it 1,000 times over again, right? It's like the wife. She's like, hey, we need to do this. We need to do this. You ignore it. And then someone else says, like, that's a great idea. That's kind of what this is with the Cole. But let's play the Tim Brando clip and let everybody rattle up, and then we'll go from there.
Leaves and a real quick trigger on Zook, real quick. Ron I don't think he did an awful job, but they were out of there. Get him out right away. And then they sell the lot to Urban, and Urban comes in, and you had this, player of that was so transformative in Tim Tebow, and he fits so perfectly in what Urban had been doing with Alex Smith in Utah. Now you're able to put together a juggernaut that, had a few guys that had some problems off the field as well, but still, that's how you got on that run. That's how you kept it going. But if you take those two eras away, okay, where was Florida football? Yeah. I mean, Spurrier as a player had some moments. Yeah, he and Carlos Alvarez way back when I was a kid. But that was a program that, you first thought of Spurrier, then you thought Urban, and then what have they been when those two guys weren't there? Oh, we're Alabama. We're as good as them. We're Michigan. No, you're not. No, and you haven't been. And fans don't like hearing that, but I really don't care at this stage of my life who I piss off when it comes to fan bases. Florida is without question the program within the SEC that has a fan base that doesn't understand or have any context of their history. And to me, history always impacts currency. All right. And the currency of the Florida program is one of transformation with a coach who's trying to do it a way to lay a foundation for long-term success. And that fan base is not built for anything long-term. Well, they are not built for anything long-term. And I love Billy Napier. And by the way, the moment you run his ass out, you run his ass out, he'll get a job real quick, and he'll be successful probably elsewhere.
Well, I would say to me, be just looking in the SEC.
Dave, you want to go?
Yeah, that thing made me fucking laugh the whole time I was hearing about that, because first of all, he talks about, well, Florida's never going to be anything. How the fuck do you know, first of all? Because if you know for a fact that Florida's never going to be anything for the next 100 years, send me the Powerball numbers right now, because I want to be a $50 million millionaire. Second of all, he says, if you take away the Spurrier era and Urban era, what was Florida? Well, what if you take away the Saban era and the Bear Bryant era from Alabama? What the fuck were they? Nothing. Okay, you can do that practically to any school.
Sure.
That like at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell my niece that won 2 track trophies. Like, hey, if you take away those 2 track trophies, you're really nothing. You're really nothing. Like, I'm not going to do that. That
was
makes no
spot on.
fucking sense whatsoever.
That was
So,
spot on.
so that little analogy right there was just hilarious to me because at the end of the day, like that's loser mentality. For you to say something like that, that's loser mentality. I don't care. The Florida Gators are here to stay. The Florida Gators, like with me, you should want the Florida Gators to be elite, and you should want it now. You should never wait for it. You can give people time, but it gets to a point to where okay, now you gotta hunker down. Now this has got to be successful. We're in year 3 with Billy Napier. It's got to be successful. You shouldn't wait around. No college football team should ever speak like that. No college football team should ever think like that. I don't care if it's just the Florida Gators. Oregon shouldn't take that. Do you think when Dan Lanning went to Oregon, they were just like, oh, hold on. Don't recruit these 5 stars, all right? We got to lay down a foundation first before we get these 5 stars. I need to take all these 5 stars back, lay down a foundation, and then we can get the 5 stars. No, you want them now. You want success now. Every program wants success now. It's the NIL era, dude. That is a loser mentality, and that's such a loser take. There you go.
I think you're spot on. I look, I was gonna go that way with the again. I think your take of your niece with the two trophies. You take those away, you're nothing. It's perfect. That's exactly how I feel. I actually looked it up before the show.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, I looked at it before the show. Right, LSU has 4 national championships. Georgia has 4. Like I'm trying to think. Like, look, Bama has 14 or 17. Look, they're definitely a powerhouse.
Okay,
Michigan.
Well, let me go ahead and say this. If you told a Georgia fan, take away 1980, you're really nothing. Did they not just hire Kirby and he just went on a tear right as he got hired and they were in the playoff like the very next year? Give me a fucking break with that.
Look, the only thing that I have that I do agree with, because I've stated it myself, is a pattern was created with the Zook in a sense. We have you have the dominance for however long it was with Spurrier. Zook comes in, things aren't going the way that we want it to. We make a snap. Urban comes in, he goes, okay, cool, we're right back where we left off. Right? Like that then becomes the standard, the expectation of like, we win here. And so to his point, since Urban, we haven't been able to duplicate that success. So Florida fans, our patience isn't very great. And we burn through coaches in the sense because we expect to be able to go, well, this guy's not working. Urban just popped right in and did it. I'm not arguing whether it's right or wrong or that somebody should step right in, what have you. But that part I do agree with where the fans are a little, and I've said this, we do have a hard time of grasping, look, it's been 20 plus years or almost 20 years since we've been able to win that, to go after the big one, not even to go after the big one because 2020 almost was, a win away from being there. But, and look, I've said that. I think the patience part going through it, working with coaches, that's the only thing that I do have. I got where he was coming from, where the fan base is a little bit. He goes on to say the fan base is toxic as well. It's a weak take. Again, going back to the last decade,
that's any.
What do you want us to be?
Any fan base has toxic fans.
Yeah, every great family has toxic members when things aren't going right. And when they haven't gone as right for what feels like a very long time, we're going to be hostile. Here's the positive. When shit's going good, we're the best. It's like a crazy chick, all right? When things are going great, it's wild in the bedroom, right? But you got to deal with the craziness that comes. That just is what it is, baby. I don't know what to tell you. So that's Florida football in a nutshell. But yeah.
All right. Well, you heard it from Tim Brando, Georgia fans. Take away 1980, you guys are nothing.
Yeah, and again, you take Georgia, take away once in 20 years from now, you're gonna take away this dominance from Kirby, like just this decade from Kirby. Georgia literally is nothing. Like it's a weird take. Not many schools have a longevity of dominance. There's like, again, Princeton has 8 championships. Are you gonna put Princeton up there? Like I was looking them up, like with top schools with championships to figure out the number here. Of the time that Florida's been around, the time that LSU's been around, I did up the percentage. 3%. We've won 3% of the time we've won a national championship. It's like 0.25. LSU's 3%. We're all in that same category. The only team that, again, that's above everyone is Bama, but they had some good years.
Yeah, well, I mean, like at the end of the day, once you have the taste of the title, man, like that taste never goes away. Like, it's
Sure.
never going to go away. You're always going to want it. You're always going to want to be successful. Once you taste success, I mean, like, that's my thing. It's like, if I'm successful at something, like, you say year after year, you have to compete for something and you're rarely successful at it. There's nobody that's going to be in my damn way that's going to get me to get to that success. Like, that should be the attitude. And that should be the attitude of the fans. The fans should think the same way. Like, hey, we should be winning national championships. This is University of Florida. Why do we suck? Why are we at 15th in recruiting right now? Like, those questions should be answered. Like, those questions deserve to be asked. Like, this is the University of Florida. I don't care who says what. I could care less if it was Tim Brando, if it was Elon Musk, if it was anybody. Like, this is the University of Florida. We win championships here. We did win championships here. We had the taste of it. It should not go away ever. That should be the mentality.
And we do continue to win championships in other programs. And again, I think the football part of it is what he was talking to. But yeah, look, I think there is a little bit of truth, right, into to the sense of understanding where we're at now. But the comment of take those away and Florida's nothing, that was a very stretch of a take. And look, everyone has them. There is what it is. But let's move on. Let's talk about. Go ahead.
At the end of the day, you hire you an elite coach, you don't have to wait that long. I'm tired of hearing about foundations after, 20 years? We don't want to hear that anymore.
Jim Payne says, Allie predicts 5-7. We got to get Allie on the show. Allie's probably...
I ain't mad at her for it.
Allie's probably firing all cylinders. We've got to... Look at this. Daniel Overboy's counting every time we say yeah. I don't know if it's me or you or a combination. We're up to 25 in 40 minutes.
Did you see like the beat the bookie Miami fan that fucking said we were going to only win like 3 games?
I think that the number's 4.5.
No, Hard Rock's got us at 5.5.
I know that a buddy of mine bet it this weekend at 4.5. Smash that if it's 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, some betting sides are different. I think if somebody told me Hard Rock was like 5.5 right now.
It could be. It could be. Yeah. Look, everyone kind of has their own betting source. Let's take a look at this clip from Cole Kubelik here. Shout out to Nick for this is going to throw a few people off. I'm not going to mention it. We'll talk about it afterwards. But it's his recording of Cole talking about the schedule. And again, it's literally reiterating what I've been saying for the last couple of months now, but he just does it better than I do, per usual.
And have the early season success that you mentioned. If you want to know what Roman was referencing after October the 5th, it'll be at Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, at Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, at Florida State. It's daunting. It's a lot. I'm not going to pretend like it isn't, but I do feel like we're having a little bit of logo fever here with this Florida schedule. Miami's Miami, but we don't know if Cam Ward's going to come in and all of a sudden be Gino Torretta and win a Heisman Trophy. We don't know how that thing's going to work out. By the way, did Miami win 8 games last year? No, they didn't win 8 games last year. Was Central Florida eight wins last year in the regular season? No, they weren't. But all of a sudden we talk about all these teams like they're going to be world beaters. Florida State was a great football team last year. 70% of their team was gone. And by the way, when it was gone, how did it look against an SEC opponent in the bowl game?
In 1.2 miles, turn right onto Southeast Leonard Road.
If you go to teams like Mississippi State and Texas A&M on this schedule, we talk about some of these teams like it's just going to be this impossible task for Florida to defeat them. There are other intricacies within the schedule. By the way, if you have to play Ole Miss, that's going to be a tough game on your schedule. But I tell you what, I'd rather get them at home on November 23rd, a team that physical or mental toughness, we don't know what they're going to be about, and depth is probably going to be of an issue. I'd like to have them later on my schedule. Florida's not going to be a terrible football team. They're not. If you took Graham Mertz's numbers and you put them on every other quarterback in the league's roster, we'd all be talking.
All right, couple things to go over there. First of all, Wiskowak said over under 4.5 on FanDuel. Locked in $2,500 bet at 150. Yeah, told you. So there's a lot going out there. Second, everyone who's listening on the radio just took a right turn because they thought their directions told them to take a right. I apologize. That was Nick's recording. Can you imagine people just driving? Shit, I got to turn. Third.
Yeah, I was wondering like if you were trying to like drive. Well, that was going on.
Yeah, that wasn't me. Third. What I love is that what I've been saying about FSU, and I said it last year, and I've been saying it this year, and I've been telling FSU fans going to this year, and again, I understand who it's coming from. It's a Gator fan, so it's hate, but it's not. It's factual. They lost a good chunk of their team, and I understand they brought guys in, but they're not going to replace what they had. That team was a really, really good team. I told Steve before he quit the show time and time again, hey, this is your year. You better get it done. And they did everything but go to the playoffs. Go ahead.
And they have DJU as a quarterback. Like, and listen to me. I know his dad got on Twitter and he got all mad. Well, here, get mad at me, Dad, because your quarterback has a 58.5% completion rating, 58.8 for his career. He's never thrown over 3,000 yards in his career. Okay, so if people think he's not that great, it's probably because he's not that great. And a lot of ESPN people said it too. So get over yourself, dude.
Yeah, you keep jumping from school to school. Again, eventually, at what point is it you and not the school? Is that's the problem. The other thing that I love that I've been stating too is the product of Graham Mertz and what he brings to this football team. The fact that we have a quarterback in the system for a second year. You just heard Bud even say it. A lot of guys that come from the portal their second year in that system, they have a great it's the jump year, right? The sophomore year. Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, uh, Jordan Travis as well. He was in his third year, I believe. But those things are the reason I'm excited. And when you go up against these schools, he described it perfectly. Logo fever, and that's what it is. These logos carry weight. You don't have your 4 to 5 games that are just gimmies, right? In a typical schedule, in an ACC schedule, you've got 6 gimmies. In a Big Ten schedule, you got 7 to 8 gimmies. Where you're like, go. You think I'm lying? It might have went down a little bit with the additions of Oregon and USC and Washington and whatnot, but for the past whatever years, Michigan, Ohio State came down to Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, and sometimes Wisconsin, and sometimes Michigan State throughout those years. But what does that tell you? That every game before that meant nothing. We all knew that. Nobody tuned in for those games because they were nothing. And so usually every school has that. The SEC is thicker. It's bulking up a little bit. And we don't have a Vandy. We have a Mississippi State. I put them into that lower tier of the category. Tennessee, Kentucky, they're hitting strides that they haven't hit before. So again, logo fever is where he hit it dead on the head. And again, did these teams win 8 games? The Miamis, the A&Ms, the UCFs, the Ole Miss. I think he hit it perfectly too. You're going to get them late, depending on how you're feeling at home. Ole Miss, the last 3 years, Lane Kiffin, go look at it. This is the game they fall off on. Right in these 2 games, they'll lose one, which kind of sets the tone, and then they'll drop 2, maybe 3 more, maybe 1 or 2 more at this back half because the wins are out of the sails. And he even talks about depth. Florida, in a weird, in an strange place, has some great depth this year for the first time in a long time as well.
Yeah, I mean, like when you look at the schedule, I mean, we've went over it like a million times, especially with Will Miles and talking about like the quarterbacks and all that. And like, to be honest, man, and I know a lot of Miami fans who say, "Oh, he's biased," blah 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 blah. Cam Ward, like we talked about it, he has the same QBR as TVD. He has more turnovers than TVD. What makes people think that he's going to be some big, great Heisman winner? Like I saw the ACC like rankings and whatever. And they had him like number 1 as the Heisman. They have him like number 3 overall Heisman. I know it's preseason. I mean, hell, that we had Emory Jones as a preseason Heisman for 1 year when he first started his year. You know how that turned out. So it is what it is. It's all preseason stuff. It's talking season. But I just like it's what Cole Kubelik said. He goes, I just don't get where they think like a lot of these teams on the schedule are like these big world beater teams. Now you still got to go out there and beat them. I mean, obviously we've struggled against Kentucky. We Tennessee against LSU all the time, and we always have Tennessee's number. And then UCF, they beat us last time they played us. Obviously, Anthony Richardson wasn't playing in that game. He had I think it was an MCL he had to get worked on, so he skipped the bowl game to do that. Florida State, they're regrouping their team too as well. You got Texas A&M, who's a big question mark there too, the first-time head coach. I mean, there's just a lot of things that you could look at it on that schedule that can break it down and make it a little bit easier. But at the same time, I've said it 1,000 times, 68% production returning. You've got Elijah Badger now, which adds to it. It's probably around like 69, 70. There should be no excuses. No excuses on this schedule. I know they say it's the world's worst schedule on the face of this planet or whatever they call it, doomsday, whatever each TV network calls it. But like this, there's no excuses for Billy Napier for me. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, you can lose some of these games, and I get it. The Georgia's going to be hard. Texas is going to be hard. I know that there's going to be some hard games on this schedule. But like you got to at least win in the positive column this time. We can't be winning 5 and 6 games anymore. Like there's too many guys returning. Of course, if you have a bunch of injuries, that matters, obviously. But right now, game 1 in the swamp against Miami, as I said, ACC's Vanderbilt. If you don't beat them at home, there's a problem.
This is crazy. Is we have the same exact schedule next year. The only thing that changes is UCF is a USF and Stanford is FAMU. And it's a little bit easier, but given that USF is not as good as UCF. But look, I think and we have more away games, or more away games next year too.
I'm not trying to downplay the teams that, of course, that we're playing against, but like when you look at certain scenarios, man, like come on, like Miami, Mississippi State, Kentucky, like I mean now Kentucky's got Brock Vandagriff now, but
gotta win those games.
Come on, guys,
gotta win those games. Dalton Mucking Fuss says boys are going to Jacksonville this year undefeated. We ain't losing. Spaceship, $5. I love it, Dalton. I love that energy. Feeling good. We ain't losing, boys. Look, I think it was a world win. And this is what's funny, too, is like, hey, people say Florida doesn't carry weight, or you take those 2 eras out of it. Here's how you know it's bullshit. Go look. There's a reason why there's 7 to 10 plus Florida Gator content creators. Okay? It's not by accident. All right? It's because the fan base is incredible. And it's because we can all exist and live on this platform because of how great the logo is. Go watch every commercial of EA Sports that's been released. Who do you see every time? You know who you see. I don't need to say it.
Florida.
Who go look at Jake's Cranes. Go look at their clips. Go look at what videos. Go look at Pates. Go look at what team gets the most views. It's Florida. This whole shit that the weight that you know what I mean? The fan base it carries weight. It's maddening. Go ahead.
See, I used to talk to one of my buddies about it too, about how like you always see all these videos of Florida. Like a lot of it's like bashing Florida. They just want the fan reaction out of it, dude. Like they want you to click it, they want you to get mad, respond to it, all that other kind of stuff. So that's why I like a lot of this fodder, especially the Tim Brando thing. I got my opinion off on it, but I didn't really say much on Twitter because I'm not gonna give him that attention. That was the dumbest take I've ever heard. I actually laughed at that. It didn't even make me mad. I thought it was the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. And I thought it was like the biggest, most loser mentality I've ever heard. That's like the worst take that I've heard since a Big Game Boomer. I mean, like that was bad. But like, I mean, that's what they do. That's what they want. They want to make you mad. They want you to click their stuff. They want you to do all this. I mean, Josh Newberg can't even get his name out of our mouth. So, I mean, I thought he was a national reporter, but apparently he reports on Florida. So.
Keena Johnson says $5. Every game matters no matter where it is played. Absolutely. And on LFGM says on 3 and 247 spent a ton of time on Gator content. 100%. I mean, that's why there's 15 beat writers from both sides. They know what's up. All right, boys. Special announcement. Y'all ready for this? Can we get a drum roll, please?
Let's go, baby.
Ready? Let's hit it. The Beat Miami gear has been dropped. It's been released as of today. Link is in the description. Beat Miami on a blue tee, front and back. We had beat Utah last year, 2 years ago. I didn't make one last year. I was a bum last year. But this year, when we dial it in for every game, we're going to have for sure. Every game, I don't know. I feel like, again, except Sanford, I feel like every game we could have one, and it'd be a good time. But links in the description. Very pumped for this. It's got the Eugene 3 on rocking the Eugene jersey, which is pretty cool. So I love it. Miami, they can't afford to make shirts, so they probably won't have any there. But obviously, this game is in the swamp. If you want to cop yourself one, the reason I'm releasing it today, one, it's the day before the best day of the week. You know what I'm saying? Second, give it time to get to your house. It takes about 2 weeks typically. So that way you have some time to look at it, put away the piggy banks, and save up. Stephen Harris says, "You got the Addy." Yes, sir.
I don't even think Miami fans can afford tickets to this game. Their tickets used to be like $1 and $2 a piece. I don't know if they can afford like $300, $400.
That's very true. That is very true. Well, guys, look, I love the shirt. I think it's fantastic. If you guys want to scoop it up, again, links in the description on hightopsport.com.
Please beat the ACC's Vanderbilt at home. Please.
Dave is firing all cylinders tonight, boys and girls. So, let me see. Let me read a couple comments before we rock and roll out of here.
Yeah, I've been on a tear today, haven't I? I've got a little bit of attitude with me today.
A little bit of a roll. Yeah, I'm appreciating it.
I'm a little hot firecracker today. I need to calm down a little bit. I need to get me some of this some of this whiskey I got in the fridge. I'm gonna celebrate with tonight. So
yeah, what's like? Hey, let's do the Dave thing. What's everybody drinking on tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? Well, I'll tell you what I got queued up. First of all, midnight tonight, Zach B drops his Great American Bar Scene. So I'm pouring up an old fashioned the moment that I get off this stream. The drinking starts now. For the next 24
Drinking
hours.
should have started like during the stream. I should have just grabbed
That's
a
a
drink.
great point. That's a solid point. We're at the part of the show now, boys, where we're free balling. So old fashions
free balling.
tomorrow. The high noon tea drinks, those new things, those things are absolutely to die for. I love them. I mean, high noons, everyone's a fan of those. I'm not a big fan of the carbonation typically. I love tea. It's got just regular tea flavor, peach flavor, raspberry flavor, and lemon flavor. I love all of them. They're not very like overly done in flavor. You don't get that sticky feeling on your teeth. We're not sponsored by High Noon. Speaking of, I almost forgot. We gotta give a shout out to our sponsors. Boys, High Top Sports is sponsored to you by BetterHelp. This year's gone by so quickly. What's something you're proud of in 2024 so far? What's something you still want to accomplish this year? When life goes by so fast, like this show just did, important to take a moment to celebrate your wins and make adjustments to the rest of the year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. Look, guys, we love the routine of BetterHelp. Hop onto their website, fill out a little questionnaire, provide you a therapist. It's easily accessible, right? If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, and just somebody to talk to, going through some stuff. Maybe you're frustrated about Florida football, and sometimes you don't get out what you need to get out when you're talking to us, and you need somebody to vent to. I get it. Sometimes our call-in shows aren't enough, and maybe BetterHelp may give you a shot, right? I love how we go from our drinking habits over the next day to BetterHelp. It's fantastic. I mean, after tomorrow, we're going to have some things that we're probably going to get into our field. So you're going to need somebody to talk to come Friday morning. So take a moment, visit betterhelp.com/hightop today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/hightop.
Yeah. And I'm probably going to need that number if, we lose to the ACC's Vanderbilt because I've already lost to Vanderbilt once. I don't want to do it again.
Fair enough.
But yeah, speaking of this, since we're on liquor, over the weekend, I got to try the Pouncey Brothers Twin Peak whiskey. It's about $45 there on the internet. It's really smooth. I said it at the beginning of the show. I want to give a special shout out to Roaring Social. They took care of us, man. They took care of the tab, everything, man. So we got to go down there and try it out, shoot a little bit of a vlog for them and all that. Pouncey Brothers loved it too. They retweeted it or actually posted it on their Instagram from their company. So if you guys haven't tried it out, man, Twin Peak whiskey, it's on the internet. Look it up on Google, $45. Smoothest whiskey that I've had in a minute. So pretty good.
Good stuff. Love that. And love that they retweeted it. You had a fantastic vlog. It was really fun to watch. Somebody's tweeted what they're drinking here. Callie says, Tito's and Diet Coke, 0 sugar, 0 fat, quick buzz for the win. Look, that's that low-cal drink.
I need to do like a Friday show and just ask what people are drinking on and invite them on the show.
Look, maybe during the season we'll do like a drinking show, like a drinking/call-in show. I can't get too buzzed.
That could go good. I was about to say that could go good or go bad.
I think it can always go good if you're drinking and talking with the boys. I don't feel like there's a negative. The only negative is that I have to wake up to the next morning to do the show. Now, look here, Friday, we're going to go ahead and announce it. We're going to do a Friday show August 30th before the Miami game in front of alma mater, so we can drink there, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's on the side of the road. Can we do that?
Yep.
I mean, yeah, right? We can do what we want.
Yeah, it's Friday, folks. What's everybody drinking on tonight?
So we get absolutely just blasted in front of alma mater. I mean, that should work, right?
Yeah, I give Brian a drink, man. I know he's on the job, but he owns a store, so if you're the owner, you can do whatever you want.
That's what I think. Says Callie says, wait, Pouncey Brothers have whiskey? Yeah, just released. They were a tequila company, which we met them last year, but yeah, they got whiskey now. So there it is.
Twin Peak whiskey.
T-Bone's Puerto Rican spice rum from Tug's Gaming.
That's good. I've had that before. Pretty good.
I feel like everyone's gonna have a good time tomorrow. Be safe. Shoot your fireworks off. Blow them up. Again, links in the description to go get yourself that Beat Miami shirt. So go cop yourself one up before the season starts. Great, fantastic.
Yeah,
show.
if you shoot off fireworks, don't injure your hand. Okay.
Yeah, back up, Terry. Back up, Terry. Be sure to get the Sandlot in at some point tomorrow. Be sure to hop into the pool. Again, get yourself some American flag overalls. If you don't have any, I would question your American hood. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not drinking tomorrow, I don't know.
I mean, if you got some like red, white, and blue cargos, I mean, those work too.
Those work too, yeah, or shorts or anything like that.
Yeah.
LFGM just said, nice shirt, just pick one up. Let's see if he's telling the truth. I should get an alert. He did. Let's go, baby. LFGM. That guy is on it, man. He's got a lot of high top gear. He's a big supporter. Love that guy. Even though he cheers for horrible teams and he has a horrible attitude all the time. Love that guy.
Let's fucking go, man. Is that what that stands for? Let's fucking go, man.
Mets. It's
Oh,
man.
let's-
Yes. No, it says let's fucking go, man. Yeah, you're
Oh,
right.
man.
You're right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, if you do get injured tomorrow, spit on that thing.
Hey, quick little question before we go. Sam Adams, $5. Say Billy doesn't make it through next year. Who are you guys' top 3 reasonable candidates? This is what I always ask.
Oh,
I don't know.
God.
People are going to throw names out there, but like Dan Lanning, obviously people throw that out there. Lane Kiffin, but I think for me, a candidate has to be willing to come, right?
Fish. Kiffin? You want Kiffin?
I'm not. This is.
You want Dan Mullen
This isn't
2.0?
me. This isn't. I'm just letting you know. This is the names that I see. Dan Lanning obviously would be number 1 on my list.
Yeah, it would be Dan Lanning, but I don't think he would ever come here. But like, if it was a dream list, yeah, Dan Lanning. You got Fish over at Arizona,
Arizona,
right
Washington now.
Yeah, I mean he's Washington now. Yeah, and he's a Gator. Like he's a Gator. So
Yeah.
I mean that's like the perfect hire. Somebody
And
that's
Spurrier would be
passionate
my
that
third
wants
option.
to see Florida.
Spurrier would be my third option.
Spurrier again. Spurrier again. He's like 70 now. You have him coach the team. He retired, man.
Yeah, I know. But you one of my options. 5 Adams said Lane Kiffin. I told you.
No, I've already experienced that already. So I'm good.
Well, boys
I mean,
and girls.
if he was to get hired here, I mean, of course I'd support it, but I would just be thinking, oh my God, here we go with Dan Mullen again.
No way Dan gets. Oh, with Lane Kiffin, you mean? It'd be fun. It'd be a good time. We'd have a great time with Twitter. So.
Do you think he would actually recruit better than Dan Mullen though if he was to come here?
I think with his maybe in the portal, yeah. I mean, that's not the same thing, but I think he'd do well in the portal.
He landed a couple 5-stars. They decommitted, but
They all, everyone's decommitted. That's true. See, another Lane Kiffin. I told you. I don't think it's just me. Not just me. Boys and girls, I love you. Happy 4th. Have a great, safe holiday. Be responsible. Don't be driving around doing any nonsense. Lock it up at home. Hang out with the family. Sit back, relax, watch the fireworks, enjoy the freedom, and put on some Zach B, boys. New album's dropping tonight. I love you. Be good. Until next time, I'm Shelton.
and I just report the news, baby.
Guys, be good. Peace and love, baby.